Hi, I'm Sarah from Cornwall Chamber, and I'm delighted to be joined by Steve, the founder of Neo People, for another Business Partner podcast. So, welcome, Steve.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm well, thank you. I'm really good.
I am very excited to have you here because there's so many things that I'd love to talk to you about. We're very lucky to have worked with you at the Chamber, so kind of got to know you a little bit. But I think the first thing I want to talk about is kind of admiration, really, for the fact that you've sort of carved this amazing career
Thank you.
working within HR for 40 years.
40 years this month, yeah.
Which is incredible. I think well, I said to you before, there's not many people that I've ever met that have kind of worked within an industry for that long and just become a bit of an expert at, I guess,
That's
really.
very kind, thank you. I wasn't sure it was a good thing being in so long, but I've enjoyed it. I've had a really great 40 years, lots of great experiences. So it's been good. I feel lucky.
Yeah, which is really nice. Can you tell us a little bit, because I believe you started in the military.
Yes,
Could you tell us a little bit about your kind of your story over the 40 years and then kind of how
yeah,
that led to being the founder of Neo People and kind of where you're at
sure.
currently?
Well, I joined the Royal Air Force at 16. Let's give my age away now to the 40 years ago. And it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I loved being in the military. It set some shape and purpose and discipline around what I was doing. And I worked in HR in the Royal Air Force, which was great fun. Traveled around quite a bit, played a lot of sport, and it was really good. But it taught me very quickly around respect for individuals. They have a ranking system, which the trick is not to follow the ranking system, but realize you need to respect people in certain positions and work a
Yeah.
certain way. And that was excellent. And I really loved working in the military. I thought it was a great starter for me and taught me lots of really nice basic skills. And then left to join social housing. So a period of great change, oddly enough, that
Yeah.
in the late 80s, early 90s, lots of social housing companies were accessing private finance and private funding. So they changed those culturally. They moved away from the public sector to a private sector behavior, which changes the culture of the organization, which is great to be in from a HR point of view. The people we recruited were more focused around service and quality to the tenants that we had in what were essentially council houses, even to a point where I led a project that we engaged with local communities in Salford, up in the northwest
Yeah.
mainly, where we said to the community, "We'll find apprenticeships for your families with the builders and plumbers and joiners that are working with us building the new properties." So we found employability for even our tenants, which was great. So from HR point of view, not many HR professionals get to do that. And from there, I moved into retail and distribution logistics, working for Littlewoods, which was a brilliant company. Again, this is
Perfect.
the good fortune of my career. And Littlewoods were a hugely family friendly organisation. They sold to the Barclay family, who were driven by technology and performance and quality. But I used to spend a lot of time working around either the shops or retail, but logistics as well. So one of the companies which you'll now know as Yodel,
Yeah.
I was involved in setting up the company that eventually spawned Yodel. And we would deliver 130, 140 million parcels a year, which is phenomenal. And half of them would come in the last bit of the year around Christmas. So if you imagine 5,000 trucks out on the road every day, 11,000 employees shifting around your trainers or your dress or your blouse or your bottle opener you buy off
Yeah.
the internet, which then was catalogs, oddly enough, moving to the internet, we deliver. And we were at the forefront of changing technology to what you now see as QR codes and barcodes, to make sure that the parcel that was ordered got to the right place. So again, around cultural and organizational change from a HR point of view was fantastic in
Yeah.
modernizing the business. And again, a job I thoroughly enjoyed and really got a lot of experience in terms of wider finance and organization development. Leaving there led me to Cornwall.
Yeah.
Led me to Cornwall to move to Cornwall College as director of HR. Again, it's a brilliant place. Fantastic teachers and support staff and administration. Absolutely loved Cornwall College and what it does in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And it continues to a brilliant thing. And I really do congratulate all the staff who deliver,
Hmm.
because they're really the stars of the show at Cornwall College. And from there became close to primary and secondary schools who were turning into academies.
Yeah.
And I thought that they needed some help and suggested we set up a company to do that. The college weren't too keen, so I left and set Neo up in 2012. And Neo provide HR services and payroll. And on day one in 2012, late 2012, there was me on my own with a couple of schools to look after. Fast forward to today, we have in excess of 40 staff,
That's
45 staff.
amazing.
We work with hundreds of schools across the UK. And at last count, we process around £120 million a month of payroll for school staff around the country. So we've grown significantly into a large organization. Again, being an owner and founder of a business and growing it and it being your thing is incredibly emotional thing. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And I love doing what I do and helping schools to do what they do in the classroom is another, he's very lucky. It's a brilliant job that I really enjoy. And I love being MD
Yep.
of Neo. I recently sold Neo to a company called Supporting Education Group. So we joined the group. It's the largest education group in the UK. I'm really proud to have joined them and that they selected Neo as an
Yeah.
acquisition. And we work within them and it's seen Neo continue to grow. So long after I've kind of moved on to my next adventure in next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, Neo will still be here providing services to schools in the UK. So it's been a really fortunate
Yeah.
career. I worked really hard. I've met some brilliant people and I
Yeah.
worked with some brilliant people, done some difficult things, done
Yes.
some things that are
Yeah.
really quite challenging
Yeah.
but my belief is that you can have the best office, the best equipment, or the best van or the best computer or the worst computer and the unpleasant office. Your people are the key. Your people are the key to any organization. If you're a good employer and you look after your people and you motivate them and you care for them and you reward them and you engage with them, you can do miraculous
True.
things. And that really has been the bedrock of my principles of HR for all these 40 years is look after people. So for me, our schools that we work with look after their pupils, and head teachers out there and teachers out there are brilliant. My job is to look after the head teachers and the teachers and the staff and support staff that do that job. So when they need our help, we're there. So yes, for 40 years, it's kind of zipped along a bit.
Well,
So
what an
if I'm honest with
achievement,
you,
though.
yeah,
I mean, that's incredible in itself, just the kind of longevity of that. But I think what's so apparent when you speak, even now after 40 years, is you genuinely care. And I think that's quite unusual to hear from someone that's been doing something for so long, because you can understand someone might kind of get a little bit tired or something, but it is clear that you love it and you do really care about people. And as you said before, everything that you're doing, all the steps you're putting in place is kind of striving for a positive outcome and trying to make things better, whether that's like a process or a new system. So that must be incredibly rewarding in itself. So I can see why you've done it for as long as you have.
uh, yes, it is. I have this thing that when people have anxiety about things or they worry or concern about it, certainly managers and people with responsibility for people, if they don't understand employment law or have experience of managing people, I think that people like me with my skill set and principles, we can help. I can't build a wall or fix a leaky pipe or anything like that. That's not what my skill set, but I can help people deal with people issues. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes a short amount of my time or a skilled HR person's time can take that anxiety away and can resolve an issue and can get someone back to work or can resolve a workplace problem. And then they can get on with their job, whether it
Yeah.
be teaching or selling in a shop or driving a van. And it's incredibly satisfying to be presented with we have a problem here, how do we resolve it? And then helping an employer resolve it and the anxiety dripping away from that employer and the
Yeah.
employee. And the employee can go off to work and be happy and satisfied and motivated. And the employer, whether it's a business owner or manager of an organization, feels that, well, my job's this actually, and I can get on and do
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I absolutely love it. And it is incredibly rewarding when we
Hmm.
resolve a particular issue and you can see the impact of it. I say at the moment, Neo does this in schools. My team, my colleagues are out there doing it. And, we pay 100 and odd million pound a month, and we are 99.96% accurate. So I
Yeah.
guess I say that because it's important to get the number in. So my principle to our payroll team is got to make sure people get paid.
Yeah.
So they say, great, that's a principle of ours. So 99.96 of our tens of thousands of activities a month get paid first time. And I'm really proud of that. And I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
think I'll
should be.
ever lose that. But I like people.
Yeah, no,
You
and
know,
that is very clear. I've got to say, like, you are one of the nicest people I think I've ever met. So
that's very
that's
kind.
that's
Thank you.
definitely true. One thing I wanted to ask you, sort of personally. So I have been lucky enough to hear you speak publicly, and you are a very, very good public speaker.
Thank you.
Has that always come easy to you, or has it been something you kind of honed over the years? Like, do you have any top tips for anyone that perhaps struggles? Because you do appear very confident, and I guess it's almost because you know your subject so well and you have got so much experience, it's a lot easier to, I guess, to talk about something that you are passionate and you know so much about. But yeah, has it always been something you've just found really natural?
Um, yes, yes, it has. So um, my Royal Air Force days, I had a couple of things that happened to me which were shaped this ability to present. Firstly, I did some football coaching with the FA, so you got to stand in front of people and coach them. So years ago, I held a qualified coach's badge. It's expired now.
Okay.
So I loved,
I
had an
don't.
injury. So I was be 18, 19 years old, coaching and training grown men
Yeah.
and ladies team at that team actually years ago, which is great. And trying to help and communicate and coach, which is really good. But then when I first was in the Royal Air Force, I used to go out and do talks to schools and job centres and employ people. So you're thrust front and centre. But equally, I stood on a stage and told 200 employees that we're closing this mill and we're moving the job 15 miles away. People might have worked somewhere for 30 years,
Uh,
and you realise they've got to go and tell their families and their friends. So you do develop a skill that communicates in a way. All I can say from my point of view is I care deeply about who I'm speaking to and what I'm saying to them, and the
mhm.
knowledge that the words I'm using. Because when someone reads something from you for the first time or listens to you, they'll pick up more of the words than you think about.
Yeah.
So they'll listen intently and say, "Well, the number of people that keep saying to me, I remember you said this 20 years ago." I think, "Wow, and you said this, and it stuck with me." And
Yeah.
so it's really important. But I like to get up and talk to people, and I'm passionate about this, and it's easy to talk to because I'm passionate about. If you ask me again, about fixing a leaky pipe, couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But and the people I tend to talk to are keen to engage and listen. The talk with the chamber a few months ago, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
It was absolutely great because the audience were engaged.
Yeah.
I was up with Tim from the RNLI. I mean, how good's
Yeah.
that to be on that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
platform? What a fantastic thing that was. And it was an enjoyable subject because it was about employees and being passionate. So,
Yeah.
yes, I enjoyed doing it. Our owners, SEG, are keen for me to get involved more with going out to talk to potential multi-academy trusts about how they can help this. So there might be a bit more of me
Good.
being out there in public, but you never know. But thank you for those kind words. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I do get nervous.
Okay.
Absolutely, like everybody else, I get nervous, and I cycle about or I walk the dog, and I replay what I'm going to say many
Do you?
times.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
interesting.
I kind of set myself a video a recording in my brain, so I know. So the first minute, I'm already prepared, and I can get my confidence in you. The
Yeah.
physiological, you don't want to rush off, and you can be quite calm. And then once I get into it, it's quite relaxing. But again, I'm lucky to be invited to talk to a few events
Yeah.
because the audience is generally the audiences want you to do well.
Yep.
They want you to be engaging and interesting, and therefore, so it's easy to get them to that place. And if they're there because they want to be there, you've almost won before you start. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it does. And I think with the kind of a background in HR, I think that you have an understanding of how powerful people's words can be. And I think that's really crucial. So you probably think a little bit more about the meaning behind those words, perhaps when you communicate them so well. And I think also within HR, I can imagine that obviously people are coming to you for advice and your expertise. But when you kind of know something inside out and you know who you are as a person and what you stand for and what's kind of right and wrong, I guess that's why it's that kind of sort of warm presence that you give people because people kind of have that respect for you. And also it's just that bit of, I guess it's that thing where you sometimes you know what to do, but it's the reassurance from going to
Mm.
someone that you know has all the knowledge there to kind of help support that.
Uh, Absolutely.
Mm.
It's about trusting. I think working is all about relationships and trust and communication.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's all about respecting people wherever they are, wherever they sit. I'm not a great fan of hierarchy. So the Royal Air Force taught me to respect all different levels. So, I think leadership's really important. If you're hierarchical with leadership, I think you're going to miss the point that teams deliver. Not singular leaders on their own. I'm really passionate about that. And if you start to develop within your psyche as a leader that you trust and develop and you invest in, and you help and enable, then leadership takes on a different. But people think leadership's getting a flag and rushing off to the front, and
Yeah.
it isn't. In my book, it isn't about that. It's about enabling and supporting. And when you need to step forward and say, "No, this is what we're going to do. Don't worry. we're in a team, it's all okay, we'll be fine. But the folks who work for Neo, I'm incredibly lucky. The people who work for Neo now and have worked for us previously, they're fantastic, and they need a platform to perform.
Yeah.
And I often give them that when they need me to say, actually, don't worry, this is what we'll do. They get that assurance. When they want to go and explore and try and extend their professional knowledge, I support them to do that. So that's really incredibly important as well. I've already always enjoyed that the achievement of a leader is to enable someone to get better. And if you
Yes.
do that, tick. And sometimes they might
Love
leave
that.
you and go somewhere else. And Neo has grown. People have gone to
Yeah,
better
of
things.
course.
That's a real success.
And you can take pride in that as well if you've helped
Absolutely.
someone along the way in their journey, which is so important as well. One question that I ask all of our guests, and I think I like your answer. What does success mean to you?
Success for me is to deliver a solution for the person that's asked me to help them.
Okay, love that.
You people will talk in monetary value. It's great to be profitable. It
Yeah.
is, and and out there listening, thinking, of course, you are profitable. But for me, the satisfaction, I succeed when I'm faced with a problem that a client or someone I know
Hmm.
has, and we help them to reach a solution that satisfies all parties. I use the word satisfy carefully, not makes all parties happy,
Yeah.
but satisfies all parties that that's the best solution possible.
Yeah.
And people can move on because there's nothing worse than being stuck. But success shows many things. Again, I look at my team and I'll watch them write an email or prepare a letter or prepare a document that they might have done 6 months ago. And I'll be immensely proud of them because they've learned and moved on and gained experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's
Love
successful.
that.
All these things that you think, there's, I'm a great fan of if you take success in small measures, the big picture will take care of itself.
Yeah.
So if
Absolutely.
you're always looking at the big picture, how can I be this, magnificent, wonderful thing? You're going to fail.
Yeah.
How can I be really successful in all the daily tasks that I've got to get me
Hmm.
from A to B today? So today, I'll do 50 things and I'll complete 30 of them, and I expect all 30 to be done successfully, and that will make my day.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice way. The nice things you said to me today, I'll drive away really happy thinking, oh, Sarah's noticed that I do these things, what a successful impact I've had.
Yeah.
And so it ranges from it, but simply for me, you set yourself out to do something and you achieve it
Hmm.
and you achieve, close to where you should be, then you should be proud of it. Too many
Absolutely.
people are quite hard on themselves, aren't they? They
Yeah.
set these targets without, and they worry about the negative things, what might happen, rather than looking back and saying, God, I've achieved all that and I've done these great things.
Yeah.
It might have bounced along the way
Hmm.
and been the odd bump and the odd pothole, but actually, this has been my journey.
Yeah.
And I think people don't do that enough
That's
in
so true.
employment. They
I
worry
agree.
about what's behind them, what might have gone wrong. And again, so I'm quite simple, really. I quite have simple things. If I can get done what people want me to do for them that improves their lives and their employment,
Yeah. You're on to a winner.
job done. Yeah.
So, talking about achievement and journey, that does bring me on nicely to maybe a little cycling challenge that you've just
Ah,
completed.
yes.
Could you
Yeah.
tell us about that, please, and sing your own praises?
Yeah, yes, I guess we can. So I try my best to keep fit. I cycle around Cornwall, and I have an ambition at some point to do John O'Groats Land's End ride. I've done all sorts. I've done 3 peaks years ago and half marathon, all this stuff.
Yeah.
My hips won't let me do it anymore. So I need to know whether I could do a longer journey. So I set myself the London to Paris ride, which is about 330 miles. And it was a few weeks ago. So I started training in January.
Yeah.
And anyone who lives in Cornwall will know that January to May was the most horrendous weather. And
Yes.
I cycle up around Pendine and Land's End and St. Just, which is
The
hilly and
bleakest,
wet.
hilliest place.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I regularly got wet. I fell off my bike twice.
Oh, no.
And again, words bite off more than can chew occasionally
Hmm.
spring to mind. But I did it. I had a wonderful journey, great company. I went with 6 other cyclists. We had a great ride, 4 days
Yeah.
into Paris. But time for a quick funny story, 2 3 minutes, I
Yeah. Yeah.
promise. So they set out these triangular markers
Right.
along the way. So if you approach somewhere, marker, 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 so you know. So I got the whole way from London to the outskirts of Paris, markers only, no GPS, just
Right.
follow these
Oh,
markers.
wow.
Great. And during the day, you get your juice stops and lunch, so plenty of fuel on board.
Yeah.
And we got to the outskirts of Paris on day 4, so we're nearly done. And I'm really excited because my son's waiting for me in London with his girlfriend. And I'm
Oh.
thinking, great, I'm so proud and so pleased that I've done this. And the event manager for our last juice stop said to us, "We've got some good news and some not so good news." So I was with a group of 6 or 7. So of course I stepped forward and said, "That's fine. Just give us the bad news first, and we'll see what the challenge is." He said, "The Olympics are on in Paris, and there's some,
Oh God.
there's some delegates being driven around. So they've taken all of our directional signs down."
Oh no.
And I went, "What?" He said, "Yeah, we're 24 miles outside Paris, and you have to kind of wing it." And okay.
Oh
So
no.
what's the good news then? He said, "The good news is we end up at the Eiffel Tower, and that's a big metal structure, and you can't miss it." So I was like, okay, that's good then.
You'll know when
We'll
you
head for Paris,
finished.
and we'll head for the Eiffel Tower. So we got there, and it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. Made
Oh,
some new friends, and I was really pleased that it's this stickability, isn't it? You've got a
yeah,
task,
exactly.
you set yourself to do it, you train hard for it, and on you go. So thank you for asking for that.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
that's
quite
a huge
proud of myself.
achievement.
Yeah,
So yeah, congratulations and well done on that.
thank you.
It's been amazing to speak to you, Steve. Thank you so much. Honestly, one of the most humble and lovely people I think I've ever met. So I really hope that you do get to tour around a little bit and lots of people get to hear you speak and kind of share your wisdom. But yeah, it's a pleasure to speak to you as always.
That's lovely. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.